There are some volcanoes like Etna and Stromboli which are extremely active, and they are basically erupting like Stromboli every hour or so, or Etna at least one a year or something like that. So the general idea for us volcanologists is to go to these volcanoes because they give us the opportunity of studying eruptions more frequently. So that's the general idea, is that we can go to these laboratory volcanoes to basically test our ideas, test our instruments, and get more information as possible on the eruptions. Volcanoes generally follow always the same physical rules. So the general idea is that you have to have a magma which is less dense than the cold rock which is hosting it to allow it to rise up to the surface. Then obviously every volcano has differences. They behave like humans in different ways. We more or less work in the same way, but we have characteristics which obviously distinguish us. Volcanoes in general need to have a budget of gases in the magma to be able to actually erupt explosively, and this is what is happening at Stromboli and Etna. We study crystals and bubbles, for example, in magma, because these are the only witnesses that we have in situ, in the magma, that are actually experiencing these transformations that the magma is going through while going to the surface and then erupting. So by understanding how these crystals behave and how they change their chemistry, their structure, how they break, how they deform, we can actually understand how magma behaves before it erupts. And that's the way we want to go to understand better how eruptions actually happen. Our laboratory experiments involve usually stressing magma as much as we can to try to understand what are the limits basically before it breaks and how it deforms. In these experiments that we do here in Munich, we definitely compress the magma and decompress it very rapidly to understand how it actually can break and then give rise to an explosive eruption and generate volcanic ash, which is what is happening, for example, now very clearly at Stromboli and Etna. The current eruption in Iceland is an eruption that has been warning us since months. We volcanologists have been watching, and the colleagues in Iceland more closely, obviously, the swarms of earthquakes that have been happening since months now. We have been counting like thousands of earthquakes that are basically telling us where the magma was moving in the crust and migrating to reach the surface. And finally, the magma actually made it to the surface, and now we have a brand new volcano which is newly born in the nearby of Reykjavik.